Hey everyone, how's it going? So not very long ago, we did a video on Kabuto, and it wasn't quite as good as Omanite, but it was good, just not great. Kabutops, on the other hand, has some things really working for it. Although Kabuto didn't exactly struggle with Brock, it didn't exactly speed through either, and Kabutops might with Absorb. Not a great move, but good for Brock. Another thing that's going to help Kabutops is its speed. It's not bad. In a solo run, base 70 is usually good enough to outspeed pretty much everything because we get stat experience when we knock out Pokemon and none of our opponents have them. So we have a pretty unfair advantage. By the way, if you ever wondered why Pokemon Stadium is so darn difficult, it's because you don't have that advantage in Pokemon Stadium. Well, at least not completely. It's complicated. I really want to make a video on Pokemon Stadium. But most importantly, there's something else that Kabutops gets that you may have noticed, but if you didn't, don't worry, we'll talk plenty about it later on in the run. All we have to do now is quickly defeat Brock, but first, a big thank you to today's sponsor, Dimensionals. Dimensionals is a turn-based RPG with both roguelike and deck-building mechanics. As you fight and defeat various enemies, you can either upgrade or get new skills, each of which cost mana. Your job is to figure out which skills you want to put on which of your heroes. There's also upgrades, relics. It's a really deep and interesting battle system. The game also has these really cool animated cartoon cutscenes full with voice acting, as well as these really cool comic book style cutscenes. In addition to our main characters, there are dozens of heroes that you can collect and level up. So not only do you need to pick the best skills, but also the best party for each situation. As of right now, Dimensionals has a full demo that you can play, complete with a prologue with the voice acting and introducing you to the story, as well as the Master Raid mode, which has some really cool roguelike elements, having you battle various enemies and bosses while trying to get the best items and equipment. It was really fun to play. If Dimensionals sounds like something you'd be interested in, well then you can wishlist the game on Steam by clicking the link either in the description or pinned comment. The game is slated for release on November 18th of this year, and I really do hope you check it out. Alright, so you can see we've barely leveled up, and Absorb, it's not same type, it's not a strong move, but it does its... Oh, wait a minute. Could get in trouble here with Onyx and Bide. We're fine. Alright, that was not like super quick, but quick enough, and we're at level 9 entering the next part of the game. If there were grass Pokemon here on Route 3, that actually might be a bit of an issue, because we're kind of underleveled, but thankfully, since all the Pokemon here pretty much use normal moves, and we are a rock Pokemon, we didn't have to waste our time leveling up in Viridian Forest. It's not a huge time waste, but little quote-unquote optimizations like this, it's going to make a huge difference if Kabutops is going to be with the same tier as Gengar, Alakazam, etc. And even making that comparison is very flattering. Rock Pokemon, we talked about this in the Ride-On video, they're not very good in Generation 1. Is Aerodactyl ranked 45th among fully evolved Pokemon? Kabutops potentially could have the move diversity and speed to maybe be the first rock Pokemon to actually be good, but we got a long way to go. I decided to battle Rival 2 over trying to battle Misty. Now, Pidgeotto is still kind of annoying, but notice I outspeed it. That's a really good sign, and it didn't use Sand Attack, which is excellent. You can see that I have acquired Water Gun from Mount Moon. Not a great move, but it is same type, and it's nice to have. You can see it doesn't quite even one-shot a weak Rattata, and Bulbasaur has Leech Seed and a 1 in 4 chance of going for Vine Whip. Growl is not ideal because it gives it an additional turn, and sure enough, on the final turn, it knocks out my poor Kabutops. It took quite a few attempts to actually beat Rival 2, which is unfortunate because it looked like it would be easy, but you can see that the biggest problem, actually you're not going to see it, but trust me, Pidgeotto's Sand Attack is just so annoying, and the inability to hit consistently frustrating. If we just started with Slash, Kabutops would be guaranteed an easy Rival 2 fight, but unfortunately we just have to rely on good luck with Bulbasaur and Pidgeotto, so it takes a few attempts to actually beat Rival 2. Ordinarily, we wouldn't talk about this next section, but this lass has gotten pretty famous because of her Oddish, but I really don't think against Kabutops they're going to be that big a deal because we're so strong and we're fast enough. And sure enough, that's exactly what ends up happening. Scratch doesn't one-shot, but Absorb doesn't do enough damage to take it out of the two-shot range. We get a nice little crit against Pidgey, and then another one against Oddish. Having a base 70 speed leads to more critical hits anyway. So now we have to make a decision whether we're going to skip Misty or not. It is always, always, always slower to skip Misty and have to come back to do Surge. And we might actually skip Surge anyway, but still, beating Misty now gives me access to Bubble Beam. I gotta think about it. And even though this might go badly, I'm gonna battle Misty here. All we have is Absorb and Scratch. The one thing about Absorb, though, is it's getting my HP back, which is kind of nice. So we have 51 after knocking out Staryu. But when it comes to Starmie, it's a little different. The crit really helps. I try to do some badge boost glitching with Harden and Scratch, and I actually make decent enough headway into Starmie, but it looks like that was a little luck-based and inconsistent. And since I am probably going to skip Surge till later anyway, although it does waste a little time, we're going to have to beat Misty later. One huge bonus of skipping Misty is now we have access to Body Slam. We use it all the time. There's no reason a move this powerful should be available this early, but hey, I'm not going to complain about it. And Body Slam just makes minced meat of Rival 3's entire team. Although theoretically, the rival could have won, and this actually was a second try victory because I reset after a Sand Attack. It's just simply not worth battling after Sand Attack. So that was Rival 2. I have to go beat Misty now. Unfortunately, Kabutops cannot learn Dig, so there goes an easy Lieutenant Surge for now, but hey, since we skipped Misty, it's not really that big a deal anyway. Now that we have both Body Slam and additional levels, this is a joke. We one-shot Staryu, and then although Starmie outspeeds, we get a crit, which was pretty lucky, but it would have been probably a two-shot anyway. Gen 1 has a weird crit formula. We're not actually doing exactly 2 times yet. It's strange, don't ask, because I actually don't know the exact details. Either way, win's a win, and we're ready to move on to another potentially annoying trainer for other rock Pokemon. But for Kabutops, and this is the last grass trainer other than Erica we're going to focus on, because there's really no issue, although the crit there may have mattered. Let's see. Does the crit matter? I have no idea. But yeah, Kabutops is fast enough, and even if they status me, it's really not such a big deal. So we can move on all the way to Celadon. That's the next point where we have to make a choice. And as is common in many of these runs, especially with the water Pokemon, unfortunately I went for Body Slam, that wastes a turn. Boo, inefficiency! But it's almost always just beneficial to get the experience points out of the Rocket Hideout, and that'll make Surge slightly easier. For the record, you can't skip Surge too long, because Surge gives you the ability to use Fly. I talk about routing occasionally in these videos, like meta commentary. In terms of gym order or trainer order, Brock always has to be first in every single run. Misty doesn't have to be second. You can skip Misty till after Rival 2 and Rival 3. So she can be our 4th major battle, but like we talked about, then you have to skip Surge because Misty is what allows you to use Cut. So she's always going to be the second gym. We have flexibility, but like I just said, we need to battle Surge, because without Fly, there is so much time wasted by walking. That's why skipping Surge for later is a big deal. There is a lot of extra backtracking you normally wouldn't have to do that I'm doing right now. The only other gym that matters for HMs, and I've mentioned it a few times, but Koga and the ability to use Surf really opens up a lot of the game. And that's why, even if Koga's difficult, I don't have that much of a choice. After I get by Celadon, I almost always will have to battle Koga next. There's almost no scenario he is weaker than Rival 5, and so even if Koga is too difficult for me, I just don't have another option. Anywho, Surge is going to be pretty easy. This is a really good example of how static speed just makes things unfair. Even at level 31, Raichu should outspeed us if all things were equal, but since they're not, we outsped. The crit may have mattered, but win's a win. The big reason we need Fly is getting back to Rival 4 in Lavender is really annoying. You'll notice I quickly reset. That's because I got Ice Beam, you may have noticed, from the upstairs part of the mart in Celadon, Ice Beam is just such a useful move. Now, in a game that makes sense, Kabutops would be able to learn Rock Slide, a rock move, and that would be way better, and this battle would be a total joke, although the freeze is nice. But unfortunately, I have to use my far worse special to damage flying types, and, well, grass types I'd use Ice Beam anyway, but yeah, really annoying, and this is a big thing that holds back Pokemon like Kabutops. The fact I can't use its best move, arguably, Rock Slide, it's very, very frustrating. Something else that's frustrating, I was so adamant when I started these runs that I wouldn't use the Pokédoll skip and therefore would have to do Giovanni too. Can I just say I kind of regret that? I mean, I don't, because I've always believed it's kind of an unintended skip, and that really isn't what this challenge has been about. But man, it would have saved me a lot of hours cumulatively. I didn't realize I'd be doing 150 of these, but yeah, we're gonna beat Pokemon Tower, and then, like we just talked about a few minutes ago, the next trainer we have to battle is Koga. Now, we don't exactly have a dream matchup versus Koga. I actually forgot to teach Surf, so I'm stuck with Bubble Beam, which is annoying. I mean, the truth is, not teaching Surf might be a good idea if I don't intend to use it in the late game, and that is still something I'm considering. So it was one of those things where when I realized I forgot Surf, I kind of started thinking about whether that was optimal. And so I lose the first battle. I'm going to battle again, but yeah, this is something we have to be thinking about. In Generation 1, there is no way to remove HM moves.
Actually, J-Rose, in Pokemon Stadium 1, if you have 4 HM moves and you get an additional move, they will allow you to delete an HM move.
Well, thank you, knockoff Weevil Underwood. That was very helpful and true, but yeah, I mean, okay. Like, thanks for being annoying, hypothetical individual I just made up. Unless you actually posted that. By the way, I won, yay! But yeah, unless you actually posted that, in which case, I nailed it. But, alright, that battle was a little bit annoying. You may have noticed some badge boost glitching going on. The truth is, there was a bit of a mistake made in Koga, and I'm a little annoyed because as we enter Silph Company, we're gonna get our salvation, and this would have made, you know, we don't even have to talk about badge boost glitch. This would just make everything easier because of the way it's supposed to work. Sometimes I get in tunnel vision and I forget to get something. Now, to be fair, leaving it out for Koga technically could have been faster because it's less backtracking, but against Rival Fievel, it just makes the battle impossible. So let's go and finally get the best move in the entire game, and let's battle good old Fievel again. So yeah, the move is Swords Dance. This just will double my attack. Yay. I mean, like, who doesn't want double attack? It's not really doing all that much else. It's increasing my speed a little bit, but really, I just want the attack. I probably outspeed. Oh, one thing that's annoying, if you get a critical hit in Gen 1, the attack boosts don't count. Very fun, very fair. Also, because I am getting some badge boosts, I decide to level up a little bit before my next battle, because this way, if I level up in the middle of the battle, I'll lose the minor speed and defense boosts I'm getting. Actually, it's going to be like close to 50%, so they're not nothing. And with those boosts, the entire battle goes extremely... Oh, we still level up in the middle. Look at that. I screwed up. But we still outspeed Alakazam as I predicted, and I one-shot Venusaur. So probably that experience points was a little overcautious, but what can you do? I always add Giovanni 2 into these videos. It's not even for padding. There's like an occasional time it's difficult, and I just like having a formula of major battles, and I feel like if I left it out, people would say something. But yeah, enjoy a completely easy battle that almost no Pokemon struggles with, but when they do, it's kind of cool. It's kind of like the first Giovanni fight. Anywho, now we only have Erica, who I've skipped for obvious reasons, Sabrina, Blaine, who is going to be pretty easy, so that's what I'm going to go do, and then Giovanni, who has to be done at the end. Now, you might think at this point it's time to teach Kabutops Surf. It is not. Growlithe has to go for agility because it's the only not very effective move it has, and Bubble Beam is not even getting badge boosted. I'm just messing around because Well, I don't have animations turned on, and that's what Body Slam would do. I just wanted to see if it would one-shot, but now, after I get Blaine's badge, it would get boosted by those Swords Dance. Yay, Gen 1. But I was literally just having a little bit of fun. Maybe it wasted like 30 seconds. But fun fact, as a kid, Bubble Beam, because of its weird flashing animation, was in fact my favorite move. And so I still really have a soft spot for it. Now, I remembered I forgot Erica because I tried to get the rare candy in Fuchsia. And Ice Beam is enough to one-shot all of her Pokemon. Yeah, all of her Pokemon. Wasn't sure if it would one-shot Vileplume. So, you want to battle Erica before you go to Fuchsia to get the rare candy, but it's not a big deal. I do that all the time where I forget. So now, all we have left is Sabrina and Giovanni. So, Sabrina has to come first. We don't really have a choice anymore. I've talked a lot about stat experience and the asymmetry of it all, but you really notice it when I'm outspeeding a Kadabra and a Mr. Mime. Sure, I'm a bit higher level, and I might have even outsped Alakazam, but why chance it? A couple Swords Dance will ensure I outspeed it. In this battle, a crit wouldn't matter because I do so much damage anyway. It should just one-shot regardless. So that is it for Sabrina. Now all I have left is the final Giovanni fight. Again, no Surf might make this a little more time-consuming, but it'll still be beyond easy. So, Rhyhorn, I could just go for Swords Dance, and guess what? I will, why not? Because this will speed things up. I actually do teach Surf at this point. After thinking about what I'm going to do in the late game, I realized that Surf actually will be useful, and I don't have another move I'd rather put in that slot. So, no Mimic, Surf it is, and we are ready to go and face the endgame. Rival 6, the Elite Four, the champion. Kabutops has done extremely well to this point, but this is the moment that really separates the best Pokemon from the, well, good to okay. 308 means it's not going to be as good as Alakazam or Gengar, but it could still be in the top tier, albeit at the bottom of it. So I go for triple Swords Dance. Pidgeot is stuck using Agility. Yay, Gen 1. Body Slam crits, or else it would have one-shot. Rhyhorn, I go for Surf. Pretty good. Gyarados, Body Slam is going to one-shot. Growlithe, Surf is going to one-shot. We level up. And do we outspeed? No, we don't. But that's okay. Like I told you, crit doesn't matter. And then we naturally outspeed Venusaur. No badge boost shenanigans there. And Rival 6 was unbelievably easy, even without rare candies. And it's at this point I noticed that I have 2 fewer rare candies than I'm supposed to. I actually left one in Saffron. That doesn't happen much. And I left one in Fuchsia. So I'm going to go get that. And when I return, I might use them, I might not. But we're going to go and battle everyone's favorite properly pronounced Elite Four member, Laura Lee. I always prefer to try without rare candies because the longer I wait, the more efficient we are with experience points. Dugong is stuck going for rest for the same reason all those other Pokemon were stuck with agility. And Cloyster, we don't one-shot. I'm not completely shocked. It has really good base defense. We level up. That may have actually impacted our one-shot of Slowbro or lack thereof. We do outspeed Jinx, and I don't know if we'll one-shot Lapras. We don't. Hydro Pump, if it crit, would have knocked me out, but we don't need to level up to beat Lauralee. When we battle Agatha, I forgot potions! Hooray! So I actually have to reset and redo. That's okay. This is why I never used real time, especially if I'm streaming these runs and talking to chat. Easy to get distracted. I guess I can quickly speed through the Lauralee battle. I do win again without having to level up, which is pretty cool. And after we show that battle very quickly, I'm trying not too quickly because then it's really like annoying to watch. But all right, that should be good enough. Time to go and battle everyone's favorite Elite Four member, Bruno. And we don't talk about Bruno often because he's really a joke. Now I'm going to use 3 Swords Dance and then just go for Surf. Why not Body Slam? Because Hitmonchan could theoretically use counter, and if I got a crit, I would lose. But, oh, okay. Okay. Sorry, Sean, that probably made it difficult to know what I wanted there. but you probably picked up on the fact that Machamp almost one-shotted me. Like, if I'd lost to Bruno, I would have lost it. That would have been the height of arrogance because Body Slam 1000% would have knocked it out. So, yeah, maybe it's time to start taking this run a little bit more seriously. I really did think Silph would do a lot more, but yeah, that was ridiculous and almost cost me a pretty, well, not really decent attempt. It'll be a decent attempt if I beat Agatha, so time to focus. Let's see if we can beat her. So, Gengar number 1, this is why I have Silph, because I really have no other options, but notice I'm outspeeding. This is ginormous, because if I outspeed, that's one less turn for Hypnosis. We can one-shot Golbat with Ice Beam, that's really good, and Haunter cooperates, and at this point, we've almost definitely defeated Agatha. Acid Defense Drop is a little annoying, but it does raise my special. We get a crit. You would think Nightshade is bad, but since we're going to knock it out, it's not a big deal. Confuse Ray was the only thing that Gengar could do, and now we have a pretty easy time against Lance. With Ice Beam, and in theory I could go for Blizzard, and I'm thinking about Blizzard, and I'm going to use Blizzard. It is 90% in this game, but as a lot of people say, I don't even know who the first person to say it was. If it's not 100%, it's 50%. It either works or it doesn't. Basically, let's hope it works. I'm going to go for just Swords Dance here. That will decrease the damage Hydro Pump does, and I was hoping would one-shot with Body Slam. Instead, what happens is I get the very clutch Paralysis, and it can't attack. Very unlikely, but it happens often. We level up, and then Blizzard crits, one-shots, no, not crit, but just one-shot, and then we don't outspeed Aerodactyl, but Takedown wouldn't do much anyway, and Blizzard takes down Dragonite. As I predicted, Lance was pretty easy. But now comes the champion. And the big thing with the champion is that the final Pokemon is Venusaur, and it all pretty much comes down to Venusaur. This is good because only one problem Pokemon means it's not going to take too many attempts, but doesn't mean this is going to be the successful one. Let's see. So Pidgeot leads off. I know approximately when I'm going to level up, so no Swords Dance yet. We don't knock it out. Full Restore is annoying, so I go for Body Slam to conserve my power points. It does like no damage, and there we go, the level up here, which is good. Alakazam, I'm going to go for Body Slam. It doesn't quite one-shot, but Reflect in this game only impacts Alakazam, but it's permanent. But who cares, because it was on like a sliver of health. And now, maybe GG. 3 Swords Dances plus a Tail Whip. That is a ton of badge boosts. Silph coming in handy to knock it out. Gyarados, I go for Body Slam, and I get a super inopportune crit. This is a big deal, because had Venusaur gone for Mega Drain, it may not have been as big a deal, but now it could still knock me out. Body Slam again crits. We don't get burned, which would have sucked. We are getting the most inopportune crits, and we cannot get one against Venusaur. Here it is. I go for Body Slam instead of Blizzard, because I didn't make the same mistake as I made with Machamp. And there we go. There goes the battle. Aerodactyl is the top rock, no more. Kabutops was legitimately amazing. But how amazing was it? Level 64 and 346, this is difficult, guys, because it's right in the middle of the top tier and the second tier, obviously not counting Mewtwo. And this is where I start to question what the tiers really mean. You know, like Dragonite was level 57, but only 8 minutes longer. I mean, lower level by a lot. Then again, it did struggle more. I feel like the top tier are for Pokemon that took around 40 minutes, which is what this run took in real time, despite my mistakes. And thus, I feel like even though looking at this list, it's hard to tell, this feels much more like it fits in the bottom of the top tier than the top of the bottom tier. You know, I never thought that was a sentence I would ever say in my life, and yet it makes complete sense with the direction my life has gone. Speaking of which, thank you guys for watching the video. I know it was a shorter one, but that's because Kabutops was pretty good. And I will be back next week with another new video. Thank you guys. Take care.